Hey, my name's Kenzie, and in this class we're going to be focusing on rolls, tosses, and bounces with one hoop. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more hoop tutorials. For this class, you can use whatever size hoop you want. Generally, I use 27-inch diameter, and I prefer the 5/8 Polypro, so a little bit more thin. If you haven't taken a class with me before, generally my teaching style, I like to give you as much information as possible, so feel free to pause the video and stop or go back if you need it anytime. We're gonna start by just warming up. We're gonna stretch out our wrist and rotate in one direction 10 circles. And 10 circles the other direction. Now we can lace our fingers together and rotate one direction 10 times. And 10 the opposite direction. Now we can position our hands like this and push down. You should feel a nice stretch under your wrist here. And if that feels comfortable, you can also come down and back up for an extra stretch. Okay, we can also pull out here. You should also feel the stretch here in the bottom of your wrist. Do that on both sides. And now we can pull forward to feel a stretch here on top of our wrist. Okay, now we can rotate our shoulders, back, 10 circles. And 10 rotations forward. Okay, now we can stand with our hips square and facing forward, and we're gonna rotate side to side. Nice, now we can stretch a little bit forward, stretch our back and our hamstrings. Nice. Now we can bring our arm over, relax the shoulder down to get a nice stretch in the shoulder. And the other side. Okay, now we can simply lift our leg up 10 times. So you're bringing your knee up towards your chest. Okay, now we can rotate our hip out 5 times. The other side. And now forward. 5 times on one side and 5 on the other. It's super important to warm up your body before practicing these tricks, so feel free to repeat some of those stretches as needed. We're going to start with just some basic warm-ups of some rolls and tosses. So we're going to start with rolling the hoop over the top of our hand. So we have 2 different ways that we can do this. We can do it in front of our body in wall plane like this. So the hoop is rolling between my thumb and my index finger over the top of my hand, and I'm catching with my thumb facing down. So the hoop staying flat in front of my body. We can also roll the hoop in wheel plane to the sides. So the same technique, the hoop's gonna roll between your thumb and index finger, and you're gonna catch with the hoop facing away from you. Okay? So practice this on one hand until it feels comfortable, and then we can practice with the other hand. So same technique, now the hoop's gonna go back this way between our thumb and index finger. So really focus on keeping the hoop flat. You don't want to roll at an angle like this. You want to have the hoop really flat against your body. So that's the same for when the hoop is here at your side. You want to try to keep that hoop as straight as possible. If it's rolling really crooked like this, it's going to make it challenging to add into other tricks. Okay, once that feels comfortable, we can also try forward rolls. So now the hoop's going to roll over the back of our hand, over the top, and you're going to catch between your thumb and index finger. So you'll feel that this one you need a little bit more momentum to get the hoop up and over your hand. And you want to wait for the hoop to be on top of your hand before you start rotating over. Okay, and again, we can practice this in well plane in front of our body or in wheel plane to the side of our body. And we want to practice this on both sides. It's very important to make sure that we're practicing all of these tricks on both sides, especially when you want to start adding tricks into your flow or without really thinking about it. It's really important to feel comfortable doing the trick on both sides. Next, we can practice rolls over the top of our forearm. So what we're going to do is roll the hoop between our thumb and index finger, and you want to have this really flat. If you're at an angle like this, the hoop's going to roll really fast. And if it's like this, it's going to roll really slow. So you want to be parallel with the ground and let the hoop fall off at your elbow and catch with the opposite hand underneath. So roll and catch. And then we can come back to the starting hand here. Roll and catch. So try to avoid pushing the hoop as you roll. Keep this flat plane the entire time. Roll and catch. Okay. If you notice that the hoop is bouncing, you want to try to bring the hoop up between your thumb and your index finger a little bit higher before you release. So you want to make sure that the hoop is making contact with your arm before you release. Okay? Once that feels comfortable, we can practice with the other arm. So same technique, we're going to have our arm flat, roll, roll and catch with the opposite hand underneath. Okay? So again, it's important to practice this on both sides. If you notice the hoop is rolling off your forearm and not making it all the way to your elbow, pay attention to the angle of your wrist when you release. So you want to make sure that the hoop is straight with your arm, and so it has that straight line. Okay? Nice. Once that feels comfortable, we can practice going back and forth and switching which arm is on top. So you're going to start in this position with the hoop underneath and your other arm on top like this. So we have this nice flat surface. You're going to bring the hoop up and roll and catch in the opposite hand here. Now we're going to bring our opposite arm, the left arm, up, roll and catch. Bring the next arm up, roll and catch. So the arm that's on top is the arm that you're rolling onto and catching, okay? So up and catch. Once it feels comfortable, you can speed it up a little bit. Nice. After that, we can practice a fun little pass off. So from this position, your arm's underneath with the hoop in your hand and your other arm on top like this. You're gonna roll the hoop and catch, and now instead of going back, you're gonna pass the hoop from underneath and catch in the opposite hand. So again, roll, catch, and pass. Roll, catch, and pass. So notice it's just a small pass off here underneath. You don't need to throw it because then you'll toss the hoop like I did in the first one. Just a nice, simple pass off. And remember to practice this in both directions. So roll, pass, and we can also come back this direction. Now let's warm up with some basic tosses. We're gonna start with just tossing the hoop under our opposite arm. So I'm gonna start with the hoop in my hand with my thumb facing down and my opposite arm out in front of me like this. We're gonna bring the hoop down and toss and catch back in the same hand with our thumb facing up. So from here we can twist, rotate the hoop to come back to that thumb down position and repeat the movement. Okay? So wait for the hoop to come out of your hand before you go reaching to catch it. Here, so it makes it look a little bit more smooth. Okay. And now we can practice that on the other side. Arm out in front, our thumb is facing down, toss and catch with your thumb up and twist back to the starting position. We can also practice catching with the opposite arm. So you're gonna toss and catch out to the side here. So we can practice this back and forth on each side. Flip to thumb down, toss, and catch with the opposite hand. Flip down, toss and catch. For these tosses, you really don't need that much height on the hoop, but if you are in a space where you can toss the hoop higher, you can practice that. Just keep in mind to try to avoid reaching up for the catch. You want to wait for the hoop to come down to your hands rather than reaching up for the hoops. So now we're going to start with some tosses under the leg. So you're going to start standing square with your hips facing forward, and you're going to lift your opposite leg. So the hoop's in my right hand and I lift my left leg. We're going to flip to thumb down, toss, and catch in the opposite hand. Now we can try that on the other side. Lift up your right leg, flip to thumb down, toss, and catch with the opposite hand. You can also catch back in the same hand. So again, it's really important when you're exploring different ways to toss or to roll the hoop to always practice different ways to enter or exit that trick. So this is just going to help later when you want to combine other tricks or make combos. So toss and catch with the opposite. Toss, catch with the opposite hand, and then try catching back in the same hand. We can also practice tossing under the same leg. So if I have the hoop in my right hand, lift my right leg, toss, you can catch in the opposite hand, or you can toss into the same hand. It'll require you to reach across your body like this, so you'll have to twist back. But just to get you to try different ways to toss and catch the hoop from under your legs. So you can play around with speeding up a little bit, tossing back and forth, a little bit faster. Now we can practice some tosses behind the back. So you're gonna start with the hoop in your hand, flip to thumb down, and bring the hoop behind your back. First, we're going to practice keeping this arm to our side. So you're going to toss and then catch with the opposite hand, and the hoop should be facing away from you. So come back to the starting hand, flip down, toss, and catch. So for this, it's a lot of movement in the wrist. So if you release too early, the hoop's gonna go flying that way, and if you release too late, the hoop's gonna come flying at your face. So you wanna make sure that you lift your wrist up and release the hoop when your wrist is facing upward. So from the back, here. So notice my wrist is pushing up to where I want the hoop to go. Here and catch. So of course we want to practice this on both sides. Flip to thumb down, toss, and catch in the opposite hand. Now we can practice the same toss behind the back, but now we're going to toss between our armpit here. So you're going to extend your arm out. So we're going to start again with our thumb facing down, bring the hoop behind our body, toss, and catch in the opposite hand. So you want to pay attention to your posture when we're doing these tosses. A lot of people, they lean back like this and get into this posture, and that's just really hard on your back, and it doesn't look as nice. So you want to keep your posture up and your shoulders up, everything up and tall. So flip back, toss, and catch in the opposite hand. And of course we want to practice this on both sides. Same technique, flip to thumb down, stand up tall, don't arc your back. Okay, a fun variation that we can try from these behind the back tosses is we can catch the hoop back in the same hand. So we're gonna set up, flip our thumb down, come behind, toss the hoop, and catch in the same hand, so you'll be across your body like this. So from here, we're going to open up our hand and drag the hoop across our body. So we're gonna let the hoop roll over our fingers, and then you're gonna end up in this position here, and you twist back to your thumb facing up. So again, flip to thumb down. We can either toss behind our back, the first variation, or with our arm outward and between our armpit. It doesn't matter. So toss, catch here, drag the hoop behind your head, so your arm's gonna go over your head, and then twist to regrip with your thumb facing up. So practice this a few times until it feels comfortable. And of course, practice this on both sides. Another really fun way to toss the hoop to add into other sequences is this pendulum drop. It's really nice because we can go back and forth from each side, and it's great to add in with other tricks. You're gonna start with the hoop in your hand with your thumb facing up, and we're gonna bring the hoop across our body, and we're gonna bring the hoop back towards our head and open our hand. So the hoop's gonna rotate over our fingers as we come back. And from here, you're gonna drop the hoop down and catch with your palm facing away from you. So when you catch, the hoop should be behind you. Now from the other side, bring the hoop back, over your head, drop, and catch with the hoop behind you. Back to the starting position. And now we can speed it up. Make it a little bit more smooth. Okay, from the back, we have the hoop on our right side, come across, drop on the left. If the hoop's in our left hand, drag over to the right and catch in the right hand. And from the front, the hoop's in my right hand, come over to the left, drag across and drop. And then this hand just comes back to my side. Drag and drop, drag and drop. Now we can warm up with some rolls over the neck. So these are a little bit more unique, but they're really fun to just add into whatever you're doing with one hoop. So just to start, we're gonna roll the hoop up across our neck. So you're gonna start with the hoop, thumb facing down, bring it across your body, roll over, and catch back in the same hand with your thumb facing up. Flip the thumb down, roll, and back to thumb up. So here, again, you wanna be standing up, you don't wanna be arched like this. You do want to bend your neck forward so that you don't hit the hoop or the hoop doesn't get stuck on your head. But otherwise, keep your shoulders up and the rest of your posture straight. And of course, we're gonna practice this with both hands. Flip to thumb down, roll, catch back in the same hand. One thing you want to avoid is turning to look for the hoop. So that's going to change where the hoop is rolling. You want to keep your head forward and just feel the hoop as it comes over and have your hand out ready to catch. So as soon as the hoop makes contact with your hand, you want to guide it down. If you reach up, it's likely that you're going to bounce the hoop away. So wait and catch on the inside and let the hoop fall down into your hand. Nice. Another fun little toss that we can do is we can start with the hoop in our hand with our thumb facing up. You're going to fold the hoop back over your arm like this. So we have this flat plane here. We can just feel that movement. And from here, you're going to bring the hoop across your neck and toss back to the same hand. Okay? This one's a little bit more advanced. You need to have a little bit more momentum to get the hoop all the way over to the other side. Again, the hoop's in our hand, thumb facing up, flip back. So we have this flat plane here. Bring this hand across your neck and toss and catch back in the same hand. Again, you want to avoid looking back at the hoop. Keep your face facing forward and just, it's all in the wrist and how you release the hoop. So we want to practice this on both sides. Thumb facing up, flip the hoop, come across our neck to the opposite side and toss. Flip and toss. Once that feels comfortable, we can practice a cool little back and forth transition. We're gonna start with the hoop, thumb facing up, flip, toss, and now catch with the opposite hand from underneath. Again, hoops in our hand, thumb up, flip back, come over and catch underneath. Your arms will be crossed like this, and you're catching with the opposite hand. Now we can do that on the opposite side. Start with the hoop in your hand, thumb facing up, flip, toss, and catch underneath. Notice I'm kind of swinging the hoop in front of my body. So here, and swing in front. Flip, and swing in front. Flip, swing in front. So this feels really nice to go back and forth, but again, take your time with each step, really get comfortable with it on each side before you combine the two movements. Throughout this class, I want you to always be thinking about how we can combine these tricks. So even just some of the basic things we warmed up with, let's try to link some of them together. Maybe we can start with the hoop in our hand, do a toss under our arm, twist out, toss under the leg, and end with a toss behind the back. So just finding ways to combine these tricks and enter and exit different rolls and tosses is going to help you so much with your one hoop flow or trying to make up combos or choreography or anything like that. Okay, the next toss I want to show you is really fun. This is a toss that you can do behind your head. So this is what it looks like. And we can do this as a toss or as a roll. So first, let's talk about it as a toss. We're gonna start with the hoop in our hand with our thumb facing up. We're gonna stay forward, so our shoulders are gonna stay facing forward, and we're going to toss the hoop, and this hand is going to catch the hoop on the inside at the top. So we're here at 12 o'clock. And then from here, we can simply twist out of that position. So again, from here, toss, and come here. And again, you don't need too much momentum on these tosses. If we toss too far, it's gonna go flying in the other direction. And if we release too early, the hoop's gonna go straight up. So you just wanna give it like a light little lofty toss to catch the hoop right here in the center. Let's practice this on both sides. So we're gonna start with the hoop, thumb facing up, toss, and catch the hoop here. Awesome. Once that feels comfortable, we can practice as a roll. So you're gonna start and you're gonna face this way with your shoulders forward, and you're gonna roll the hoop up your arm here. So it's gonna come the same path, and you're gonna catch on the inside at 12 o'clock. So wait for the hoop to come up. You wanna avoid having your hand just hanging out here waiting. Wait for it to come up your shoulder and then come on the inside here. Nice. And for this, I'm rolling the hoop between my thumb and my index finger. So you wanna make sure that this surface is really flat. You wanna avoid bending your arm. So immediately when you roll, keep your arm straight. Avoid bending in like this. Arm straight, so that roll is nice and smooth. And of course, we're gonna practice this on both sides. Rolling up, whoop, and catching on the inside here. Again, roll up, and on the inside here. For me, the slower that I can get the rolls, the better. You have more control, it looks really smooth, so really try to slow it down. You don't need that much momentum to get the hoop up your arm. There's a lot of fun different ways to exit this variation. So for example, from here, we can do a isolation. So we're going to keep the hoop flat against our back and isolate and turn. So it's a really nice thing to add in is one fluid motion. So roll and isolate here. Also, we can practice catching the hoop behind our back. So this is a little bit more advanced variation. Roll the hoop up, catch on the inside, and now this hand is going to come behind and on the inside of the hoop. So again, on the inside. And then you'll drop the hoop down and catch in this position here. So from here, we can do our toss behind the back to exit out, or play with waist wraps or different things. Okay, one more time for the behind the back catch. Roll up, catch on the inside, bring the hoop down, and bring your opposite hand on the inside of the hoop, drop and catch. From here, we can simply toss back to the opposite hand. So in one fluid motion, here, here, and out. So it's a really nice, unexpected thing to just add in that little drop. Again, we always want to be thinking about how we can combine these tricks. So we can try to make a little combo. We can have the hoop maybe in our hand, do a toss under the arm, do our pendulum trick across, maybe add in an isolation, roll up, catch behind the back, toss out, under the leg. So find different ways to enter and exit these tricks. Most of these tosses and rolls are going to start with your thumb facing down, and we can simply get into that position with a nice twist. So we can practice that. It's also good to practice movement. So we want to avoid standing in one place the whole time. So maybe we can toss under the leg and then bring the hoop out, add in another toss, come around, toss under the arm. So really adding in movement. You can try to play around with following the hoop. So a lot of the times I don't know what to do with this other hand. So even just like tracing the hoop or following the hoop as you come under is a fun way to add in some movement into these tricks. Next, we're going to go into a little bit more advanced variation. I'll show you what the trick looks like first, and then we'll break it down. Okay, for this trick, it's helpful if you are comfortable with your just regular chest rolls. So rather than letting the hoop roll all the way across our chest, we're going to let the hoop fall off between our armpit to catch the hoop behind our back. So for this, we're going to start with the hoop with our thumb facing up. The hoop's going to roll between our thumb and index finger. And as the hoop is rolling, you're going to lean back and wait for the hoop to come down. And for this, I prefer to lift this arm up, or you can have it in this position here so you don't have like an awkward arm like this. So you avoid letting the hoop roll all the way over like a regular chest roll. So from here, wait for the hoop to drop down, and you're going to catch like this with your thumb facing up. Okay, you're gonna start with the hoop in your hand, thumb facing up, roll and lean back, and notice that I'm pushing this hip a little bit forward to help catch the hoop. So this one's a little bit tricky to get the form to look really nice. You want to avoid like bending your knees too much. You do have to lean a little bit back to get the hoop to roll off at your armpit, but just try to pay attention to your posture. And catch. So from here, from this position, we can toss out and catch back in the same hand. We can toss and catch in the opposite hand. So there's different ways to exit out of this. And of course, you want to practice this on both sides as well. Make sure that you're waiting for the hoop to fall down into your hand. If you're bringing your arm up too high, it's likely that you're gonna push the hoop away. So wait for the hoop to come down and you'll catch on the inside with your thumb facing up. Okay, one of my favorite transitions or tricks to add in with other combos are waist wraps. So this is what they look like. For this one, you want to have your thumb facing down and you're going to bring the hoop across your back to the opposite side. So from here, the hoop is gonna work like a door hinge. So it's very important that you have 2 points of contact. You wanna have the hoop touching down at your leg and then somewhere here up at your ribs. So of course, depending on the size of hoop you're using, it will vary where those 2 points of contact are, but it's important that you have those 2 points of contact for the hoop to rotate and fold across your body. So when the hoop is here, you're going to bring the hoop in front of your body as flat as possible. Notice that I'm twisting my hips forward before you release. So you want to try to have it as flat as possible. And when you release, the hoop's going to fold over your body and you're going to push the opposite hip forward to help that momentum to get the hoop to fold across your body. And when you catch, you're catching in this position with your thumb facing down. So here, and I'm catching on the inside and scooping my hand to catch. And here. Of course, there's other more advanced variations of this. You can catch in the opposite hand if this is something you're comfortable with. But this is a really fun one to add in with some of the different rolls and the tosses that we're doing. So for example, we can try to create a combo with some of the things. Maybe we can do some of the rolls over the forearm, and then we can come into a waist wrap, toss under the leg, pendulum over, half roll up, toss behind the back. From here, you're set up perfectly to do the waist wrap. So I want you to really play around with all these different warm-ups of rolls and tosses that we've done and try to create a sequence. Next, we can talk about different ways to bounce your hoop. So this can get really fun. There's a lot of different things we can do. Just some of the basic ones to cover. We can do a bounce on top of our elbow. So it's really similar to the technique of rolling the hoop over our forearm. You're gonna start with the hoop with your thumb facing up, flip the thumb down, toss under your opposite arm, and as the hoop's coming down, you're going to use your opposite elbow just to give like a little boop, boop, and the hoop should bounce back to the same hand here on the opposite side. Bounce. So I'm pushing my elbow forward and over. So I'm guiding the hoop where I want that bounce to go. Okay? And again, these are super fun to try to combine in with other things. We can do like a bounce on the elbow, toss under the leg, add in the pendulum. Again, always paying attention to movement, ways that we can move our body, follow the hoop with our hand to add in some movement into it. Once that feels comfortable on one side, of course, practice the other side. Flip the thumb down, toss, and bounce. And you'll feel you don't need to give it too much push. If you're in a space where you can play around a little bit with the height, you can definitely play with bouncing it a little bit higher. Just remember when you go to catch the hoop to avoid like reaching up for it like this and searching for the hoop. So you want to look calm and relaxed and ready for that hoop to come down. So wait for it to fall down into your hand and catch. We can also practice bouncing the hoop on our knee. So this one's one of my favorites to add in with other tricks. There's different ways that we can get into it. The first thing I'm going to show you is just with a toss in front of our body. We're going to start thumb facing up, flip to thumb down, and we're going to bring the hoop across our body and toss pulling the hoop back towards our body. So when you pull, it should land right in front of your body here. You don't want to pull too far and send the hoop over in the other direction, just enough to land right in front of your body here, and then you'll pop with your knee here. So again, you don't need to pop too much because the hoop will go flying away from you. It should just be a very light pop. And if this happens where it's getting stuck or going back to the same hand, you need to bring the hoop a little bit further over when you toss. Okay? Nice. And of course, practice this on both sides. You can also practice dropping the hoop from the top. So you start here with your palm facing down, drop, and the hoop should just pop straight up here. So you can catch in the opposite hand here. A more advanced variation that you can try, a combo, is to catch the hoop behind your back. So we're gonna do this first toss technique where the hoop is being tossed in front of our body, and immediately when the hoop bounces on your leg, you're gonna bring your opposite arm behind your back and turn to catch the hoop. So here, toss and catch. So again, it's your opposite hand. If you're bouncing the hoop on your right knee, you're gonna catch with your left hand on the right side because we're crossed like this. And when you catch the hoop, the rotation will just kind of naturally swing it back to this position. And from here, you're set up to either do the waist wrap, or you could toss to come out. Think about different variations or different ways that you can exit that trick. You can also practice the behind the back catch from the release here up top. So you're going to pop and catch the hoop here. So that one is a little bit more straight. Depending on what you already have practiced or play with, one might be easier than the other, but try both. A different kind of unique toss that we can learn is called a pancake toss. So this is common in juggling, especially with juggling rings, but it's super fun to add into one hoop sequences as well. So for the technique, you're gonna start with the hoop in your hand with your palm facing forward like this. So you can kind of just feel this motion and swing the hoop forward and back, just to kind of feel, because this is a different kind of toss that might be something that you're not comfortable with. We have different ways to do this. We can do a half rotation. So you're gonna catch the hoop on the opposite side here. It's only gonna rotate half. Or we can do a full rotation and you're gonna catch the hoop back in the exact same spot that you released. So start slow with just a half rotation first. So here, and for the half rotation, I'm keeping my eye at the top of the hoop where I need to catch. And here, you're just coming up, and as you release, push the hoop upwards towards your body. Up and forward. So everything is swinging up with that momentum. Okay. And of course, practice this on both sides. The half rotation. Notice I'm kind of using my knees to feel the movement. This isn't absolutely necessary, but it does help to feel where you need to toss and help you kind of cushion that catch. And notice when I catch, I'm not reaching my hand up. If you reach up, you're gonna push the hoop away. You wanna wait for the hoop to come down and guide the hoop as it comes down. So, more like this. Okay, nice. Now that we've practiced this on both sides, we can practice catching in the opposite hand. So we're still doing just the half rotation, but now we're gonna catch in the opposite hand. Really pay attention to the angle. If you're coming up sideways like this, you're not really getting the visual. You wanna make sure that the hoop is flat and parallel with the ground when you toss, so that you get that full illusion. Nice. Now we can practice the full rotation. For this one, you'll need a little bit more momentum, and you just have to wait for the hoop to come back down to your wrist. So here, and you want to release with your palm facing up and pushing the hoop towards your body. It feels a little weird at first because it feels like you're gonna throw the hoop right at your face, but it will get a little bit more comfortable the more that you practice. So start with just practicing catching back into the same hand and then practice catching into the opposite hand. Personally, I feel it's a little bit easier to catch with the opposite hand, but it's always good to practice both. And if you're in a space where you have a little bit more height, you can throw a little bit slower and a little bit higher. So as you swing up, you'll just get a little bit more range of motion here to get a little bit more height on that throw. Okay? Make sure that you're bringing the hoop back down to reset for the next throw. If you try to throw from here every time, it's going to be really hard to get that momentum. So come down, flip, flip. Okay, we've covered a lot of different ways to roll, toss, and bounce our hoop. Now we want to focus on ways to combine them. I'm going to show you some specific combos that you can try, and then I want you to create some of your own combos with the things that we've learned today or tricks that you already know. I'm going to start with a more basic variation, and we can work up to some advanced variations. Let's start with the hoop in our hand with our thumb facing up, flip to thumb down, lift our right leg, toss, catch in the same hand, pendulum over, flip the hoop here, and now we're going to bring the hoop behind our back and rotate so the hoop's in front here. Okay? Again, flip to thumb down, toss under the leg, catch in the same hand across our body, pendulum behind our head, flip to thumb up, bring the hoop behind our back, rotate in front here. Now, if that feels comfortable, we can speed it up, kind of add in your own style and flair into it. Flip to thumb down, toss, pendulum, fold, and you can even add in like a barrel turn or some other style of tricks maybe that you do. The next combo, I'll show you what it looks like and then we'll break it down. Okay, you're gonna start with the hoop, thumb facing up, flip to thumb down, bring the hoop across your body, toss and bounce on the knee, and catch in the opposite hand here. From here, roll up your arm, catch at 12 o'clock on the inside, keep the hoop behind your back, touching your back to isolate and rotate, rotate, full 360, and from here, opposite hand inside the hoop, drop here, waist wrap, make sure you have the 2 points of contact, and we're back to thumb up here, flip to thumb down, toss under the leg, and catch here. Okay, again, flip to thumb down, toss, bounce, roll, catch at the top, isolate, drop, waist wrap, flip, toss under the leg, and catch. This next one's a more advanced variation. I'll show you what it looks like first, and then we'll break it down. We're gonna start this one with our half chest roll where we catch behind the back. So this arm I'm gonna move out of the way, catch behind the back, and from here, we're going to roll the hoop up our chest, and as the hoop comes across our chest, you're going to turn to the left towards the hoop and let the hoop fall off at the opposite shoulder. So my arms are gonna stay in the same position. I'm gonna stay in this exact position the whole time. The hoop's just going to roll up over your chest and fall off, and you're gonna catch back in the same hand. Okay? So wait for the hoop to be right on top of your chest before you turn. And the hoop should fall down and catch back in the position here. So from here, you can do a waist wrap to catch back in the same hand, and you're back to the starting position. You can also practice just the second half of this combo by putting this arm behind here, flipping the thumb down, getting in this position, rolling the hoop up, and catching here. Again. The last combo I want to show you is one of my favorites. I'll show you what it looks like first. Okay, this one is very important what we're doing with our arms. So I start with both of my hands up like this. I'm going to drop the hoop and bounce here. So simply that first. Immediately when you drop, just bring your hands together, back to your side, and just feel that movement first. Okay, now we're going to add in a little twist and catch the hoop behind our back. So you're going to start with your hands like this. Immediately when you release, you're going to lift your knee up to bounce, and you're going to bring your arms down and across like this. So again, you're starting here, bring your knee up to bounce, and come here to catch. Okay, so notice this arm, I just bring it straight up. This is just to help get it out of the way. It's common that you'll end up with this like arm awkwardly out here. So you can either bring your arm straight up or behind your head like this, whichever you prefer. It's just important that your arms are moving together so you get that visual. So from here, you should have your thumb facing up and you can waist wrap to come out. And from here, we're going to do the pendulum drop, the other side, pendulum drop, flip, and toss under the leg. Okay, from this position, you can waist wrap and catch back in the same hand, or waist wrap and catch in the opposite hand. So from here, we're going to pendulum and catch, back to the other side, toss under the leg, and that's it. These are specific combos that I really enjoy, but I want to push you and encourage you to really try all the different tosses and rolls and things that we tried, and try to incorporate them with what you already do, and try to create a sequence. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can write down the things that you want to add into a sequence, or just play around, see what feels good. Play with all the different ways to toss the hoop under your leg, and then maybe go into a chest roll or a coin flip or some other kind of trick that you like to do. One of the main purposes of this class, not only to show you a lot of different unique ways to roll, toss, and bounce your hoop, but to also get you to try to feel comfortable in your flow and trying to create sequences or make choreography. So really just play around with it, add in your own style to it, and try to create a few different sequences. I hope you enjoyed this class. Remember to take your time with each one of these variations and have fun. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more tutorials. Share your progress with me and let me know if you have any questions on the material that we covered today.